Checked the video the next day. Most of it was too dark and shaky to see anything clearly. But there was one moment on the second floor. The camera was pointed down the hallway, and the figure was there, standing at the end, watching us. That wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what happened when we turned to run. In the video, the figure didn't stay at the end of the hallway. It moved. Fast. Straight toward us. The video cut off right after that. This happened at an abandoned hospital outside of town. We went there at 2:30 in the morning. We never should have gone upstairs. And we definitely shouldn't have stayed when we heard the footsteps. I'm Alvin, and this is Common Ground Horror. I never planned to go there that night. It just happened. Me and my friend Derek had been talking about abandoned places for weeks. We'd watched videos online, urbex channels, people exploring old buildings, factories, asylums. It always looked cool. Creepy, but in a fun way. There was this old hospital outside of town that had been shut down for years. I don't know exactly why it closed. Budget cuts, maybe. Or something about the building being unsafe. People said strange things happened there. Lights turning on in empty rooms. Sounds coming from inside. The usual stuff people say about abandoned buildings. We never really believed it, but we were curious. It was around 2:30 in the morning when we decided to actually go. I don't know what made us choose that night specifically. We were just hanging out at Derek's place, talking about it again, and he said, "We should just go, right now." And for some reason, I said yes. So we got in the car and drove. The drive felt longer than usual. The roads were completely empty. Not a single other car. Everything felt strangely quiet. Even the radio seemed muffled. When we finally reached the hospital, it looked worse than I expected. The building was huge, 3 stories tall, stretching out in both directions. Dark. Broken. Most of the windows were shattered. The walls were covered in stains, water damage, mold, graffiti. It looked like it had been rotting there for decades. We parked a little ways away from the entrance. Neither of us said it, but I think we both wanted a quick escape route if we needed it. We got out of the car and walked the rest of the way. The main entrance was locked, heavy metal doors with chains wrapped around the handles. But we walked around the side and found a broken door. The frame was damaged. The door itself was hanging off its hinges. We looked at each other. Derek shrugged. We came all this way. So we stepped inside. The moment we entered, the air felt heavy. It's hard to explain, but it didn't feel like an empty place. It felt occupied. Not by people, but by something. We turned on our flashlights and started walking. The floor was covered in dust and debris. Broken tiles, pieces of ceiling, old papers scattered everywhere. Old hospital beds were left in the hallways. Rusted, stained, some of them flipped over. Some doors were half open, others were completely broken off their hinges. It felt like the place had been abandoned in a hurry, like people had just left everything and never came back. At first, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Our footsteps echoed down the hallways. We kept moving deeper into the building, trying to act normal. But both of us felt uneasy. I could tell Derek was nervous by the way he kept looking behind us. Every few steps, he'd glance back over his shoulder. "What?" I asked him once. "Nothing," he said. "Just feels weird." I agreed. We kept going anyway. Then, we heard it. A sound from upstairs. Slow footsteps. We both stopped immediately and listened. It happened again. Slow. Deliberate. Like someone walking across the floor above us. We looked at each other. "Did you hear that?" Derek whispered. I nodded. At that moment, we both knew we weren't alone. We should have left. We should have turned around right then and walked out. But we didn't. Instead, we went upstairs. We found a stairwell at the end of the hallway. The stairs were concrete, cracked, some of them broken. They creaked loudly with every step we took. The sound echoed through the entire stairwell. When we reached the second floor, the air felt colder. Noticeably colder. I could see my breath. The hallway stretched out in front of us. Long, dark. Doors on both sides. We stood there for a moment, shining our flashlights down the hallway. That's when Derek suddenly grabbed my arm. He didn't say anything. He just pointed ahead. I looked. And I saw it too. A figure standing at the end of the hallway. It wasn't clear, just a shape. But it was human-like. Tall. Standing completely still, like it was watching us. For a few seconds, neither of us moved. We just stood there, staring at it. Then my flashlight flickered, and when it came back on, the figure was gone. We both panicked, started backing away immediately. That's when we heard something behind us. Footsteps. But this time, they were closer. Much closer. We spun around, shining our lights back the way we came. Nothing there. The hallway was empty, but we could still hear it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, getting closer. Then one of the doors to our left slowly moved. Not fully open, just enough to notice. Like someone had pushed it slightly. That was it. We ran. We ran back toward the stairs without looking back. The sound of footsteps followed us. Faster now. It felt like something was right behind us. I could feel it. The presence. The closeness. We nearly fell trying to get down the stairs. I slipped on one of the broken steps and caught myself on the railing. Derek pulled me up, and we kept going. When we reached the ground floor, we didn't stop. We ran straight through the hallway, past the old beds, past the broken doors, straight out of the building the same way we came in. Once we were outside, we finally stopped near the car. Both of us were breathing hard, gasping for air. For a moment, everything was silent again. Just the sound of us trying to catch our breath. Then, Derek slowly looked up at the hospital and froze. I followed his gaze. There was someone standing at a window on the second floor. The same floor we'd just been on. Just standing there, watching us. We didn't say a word. We just got into the car. Derek started the engine, and we drove away. Neither of us spoke the entire way back. Not a single word. Even after we got home, we avoided talking about it. It was like if we didn't talk about it, maybe it wasn't real. But we both knew what we saw. The next day, I remembered something. I'd been recording on my phone for most of the time we were inside. I pulled up the video and started watching. Most of it was too dark and shaky to see anything. Just my flashlight beam bouncing around. The sound of our footsteps. Our breathing. But there was one moment on the second floor. Right before we ran. The camera was pointed down the hallway, and I could see it. The figure. Standing at the end of the hallway. Exactly where we saw it. It was there. On video. My stomach dropped. But that wasn't the worst part. I kept watching. The video showed us backing away, then turning to run. And as we turned, the camera swung around for just a second, pointed back down the hallway. The figure was no longer at the end. It had moved. It was closer. Much closer. And it was moving fast, straight toward us. The video cut off right after that. Just black screen. I watched it 3 more times. Each time, I saw the same thing. The figure didn't walk. It didn't run like a person. It moved. Fast. Unnaturally fast. 1 second, it was at the end of the hallway. The next second, it was halfway to us. That's when the video stopped. I showed Derek. He watched it once. Didn't say anything. Just handed my phone back to me and left. We haven't talked about it since, but I still have the video. Sometimes I think about deleting it, but I can't. Because part of me needs proof that it was real, that we weren't just imagining it. We never went back to the hospital, and we never will. I don't know what we saw that night. I don't know what was walking those hallways, but I know it wasn't human. The way it moved. The way it followed us. The way it stood at that window, watching us leave. And the way it moved in the video. Nothing moves like that. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if we'd been slower, if we hadn't run when we did, if we'd stayed on that second floor just a few seconds longer. Would we have made it out? I don't know. And I don't want to find out. If you're ever tempted to explore an abandoned building, especially at night, think twice. Because some places are abandoned for a reason. And some things don't want you there. If you've lived through a nightmare you can't explain, I want to hear it. Send your stories to commongroundhorror@gmail.com to be featured on the channel. This has been Alvin for Common Ground Horror. Until next time, sleep well, if you can.